less to make what? Here we have some small, now maybe I'm not even ready for, I need to make white. Bring belly up, bring belly down. I can't believe what I need to do. I need to make 1 and 2, 37, 38. One white. This is what? Yeah, there is no other option. I need to go pick up more rubber of that size. Because I can. Ejga! In jaz treniram in mene nema. Eni delamo, da eni v uživate. Ti se imaš fleten. Ni čudno, da penzionerje podpiraš. Da si bolj na penzionerski stranki. Bolj tak lagoden, ležeren življenje. Ja, to je skozi je tako bilo, pa skozi tako bo, Vsi ne morejo uživati, če ne ni nič narejen. Če pa vsi delajo, pa noben uživati ne more. Tako da enostavno edina opcija je, da eni delajo, da drugi lahko uživajo. In tlele se ti na ta pravo stran zgodovine postavil. Dark season. Dark episode. Zato pa je tako, kot je. Eni bi samo uživali. Jaz pa tlele na nedeljo v 8 zvečer garam. V nedeljo zvečer, da dam kruh na mizo za otroke. A si namasal biču? Fajn, namasal biču, gledaš še kako lahko. Jaz sem na vseh frontah glavni akter. Prišparal sem Jurija 200, ki nisem dal onim kliperjem. Zdaj še klele prišparal. Bom sam naredil tokle japank. Temu se reče, da ne obremenjuješ delavcev. Ker to je vse, lej to je vse narejen, najnovejši model, to sploh noben drug ne zna narediti. Veš zakva? Ker če si najboljši, pa je najbolj, da greš na vse fronte sam. Jaz sem se tako naučil. Daj mi povej, kva je fora edin, da tako pravilno pišeš. Vsi komentarji, ki so v zadnjem tednu bili, so bili tako pravilno napisani. Tako da zdaj jaz ne vem. Nisem si mislil, da je nekaj me zajebavati. Hello, rec. Maybe everybody is just a bot. Maybe there is no real viewers. Zdravo. No, napiš besedo Zakistar. Čak, kva si to mislil na Muscle Beach? Zdaj čisto točno ne razumem. Hej ga, liga, a si ti z Veleja? Liga, prid pojď do mene. Delam japanke s kamenčki, če še ne veš, followaj, subscribej, lajkaj. Samo to je zdrava, varna, naravna obutev, ročno izdelana. Toliko prednosti, da bi mogel že en video samo temu nameniti, vsem prednostim. Ker praktično treba je vedeti, da obutev danes ni narejena za telo. Ne, danes Muscle Beach odpade. Pol 8 me še na tenis en povabil. Tako da zdaj imam eno urico tegale do pol 8, pa moram pa še na tenis iti. S tem, da sem bil še na standardnem treningu raztegovanja. Sploh ne vem, če je pameten iti na tenis, ampak dobro, bom malo bolj v izim igral. Za koliko to prodajaš? Odvisen od modela. Kakšen model ti je pa všeč? Najboljš, da skočiš na spletno stran zakistar.com, evo, tlele piše, da boš lahko si zapomnil in pogledaš, kva ti je všeč, kva bi kupil, koliko je cena. Ker veš, kako je. Avto lahko kupiš za 2 jurja ali pa za 2 milijona. Zdaj pa odvisen, kva iščeš, kva ti je pomemben, kva rabiš, za kva to rabiš. Evo, tlele še takele sandale bom verjetno naredil enkrat v prilki. Ne bo tako lepi. Thank you. Tudi jaz se strinjam, da so vsi lepi. Že samo iz razloga, ker so zdravi. Pa še realno dobro izgledajo. Ti si bedak, je napisal. Zdaj, če ti tako praviš, pa mora biti verjetno res. Sem ta prav bedenc. Evo, zdaj ga pa not damo. Majčkeno ga bomo še porezali. Size does matter. Sladkovince piti, to me veseli. Evo, zraven gledam pa Paul Charles Murphy proti Danielu Harvicu. Praktično nemogoče premagati Murphyja.
Harvitz agreed to this, and Staunton even wrote about it in his column. He mentioned there everything that was happening as it was quite
from river directly.
Very interested in how the match will turn out.
These pebbles shine in the dark.
That Staunton is the final boss of this saga, or so it would seem.
Maybe I can try now if it's really working.
This time out, he still spends every day
You see, you have a stick and then you can turn off the light. I don't know if it will be visible. No. I should. They are shining. Let's close the door.
But yeah, we're going to talk about this a little bit more because there's one more game.
Yeah, now you can see.
Very funny story coming up after that game. So this was game
What?
Hope you guys enjoyed it, and hope you're enjoying the more.
The camera can't.
If you're just joining us, you can check the link in the description below.
Can't.
You can start the Morphe saga from the beginning, so you can catch up to it.
Yeah, they shine, but it's very hard to see.
So that's it. Hope you guys enjoyed it. I would like to thank a mystery person, Ioannis Kepastos, Derek,
How to?
and for a contribution to my channel. Thank you a lot. I really appreciate it. As usual, you can check two of my previous videos here. Thank you for watching, and I will see you
Interesting experiment.
saga, checking up on your wonderful suggestions and whatever else happens in the chess world. So thank you all. I will see you soon, and have an excellent rest of your day.
Akiba Rubinstein. Very good chess player. Oh, what's going on with crypto? Interesting. Crypto winter, they call. Bitcoin winter. Let's check some news. Staunton. General Staunton. Everybody's
Hello
gone.
everyone and welcome back to the good stuff. We are continuing the 1858 match between Paul Charles Murphy and Daniel Harvitz, and this is game 6. Now, I already made this video, but this morning my Windows got updated and it switched from the main microphone from my Blue Yeti to the camera microphone, and then it just was really terrible. So now I have to record it again, but it's not a problem because now I know the game much better. And for those of you who are just joining us, this is game 6. Murphy started the match by losing 2 games, then Murphy retaliated in great style. He won the next 3 games. This is now game 4, and after losing those 2 games, Murphy said that Harvitz will not win a single game. So we're still checking if this will be true or not. But,
oh no, Akiba Rubinstein.
Check out the game. So Murphy again with the white piece.
What?
Murphy opens with E4.
Bitcoin is going down like crazy. Oh my god.
If it works, or it's like if it's not broken, don't fix it or something like that. But yeah, he captures with queen captures again, and in game 4, if you remember, we had knight to c6, attacks the queen, then bishop pins the knight, bishop here, captures, the game continues, and Murphy won a very nice game. But here, Harvitz decided to mix it up a little bit. He played knight to f6, and Murphy took this opportunity to not continue development, which is strange, as Murphy is a big fan of development. He immediately strikes in the center with e5. And now, okay, you want to go after the queen.
Let's work.
Put some pressure on f7. All makes sense, and black accepts this.
I spent 20 more minutes just preparing.
With check, king captures, and now knight captures on e5, threatening to capture on f7, which would win the rook. So bishop to e6, defending this, and now knight to c3. We have bishop to d6, attacking the knight here, and now knight to c4. So the bishop to d6 is under attack, and this is a pretty open game, so you should kind of keep an eye on your bishop pair, and probably bishop to c5 or bishop to b4 here. But Harvitz decided that he's just going to capture on c4, and that's just it. He's not interested in keeping the bishop pair.
67, what does that mean? 76, 75. What do you mean by... Bitcoin price, or what? Bitcoin is at 64 now. In 2 minutes that I refresh, the page dropped down for 500. Which is quite impressive.
And now a6 takes away the b5 square from Murphy's pieces with b5 now pinning the knight, and knight to d7. Here you should play queen to f8 and allow this doubling of the pawns, because knight to d7 is not much better. You don't really gain anything by this. Murphy goes after the
74, 75.
on the bishop, and again maybe you could shift the bishop somewhere like b6. Harvitz even forces a trade. We have h6. Murphy captures with check, knight captures, and now knight captures on d6. We have c captures on d6, and now just rook to h1 check. King to f8, and we have captures on h8.
Sami Slovenci gledate. Pa še tole obarvali politično.
Knight captures on e8, and now we have bishop to d5. And now that all has been said and done, we have this endgame where the material is equal, but Murphy has a bishop.
Jaz sem malo gledal, ena dobra spletna stran je. Ko odgovoriš na vprašanje in poti povejo, katera stranka je odgovorila isto na vprašanje, oziroma s katero stranko se najbolj ujemaš.
King to e7, and now rook to e1 with check. King to f8. Here king to d7 is actually very, very interesting, but Harvitz was afraid that after this move, attacking the pawn and f6, this bishop to e6 good discoveries for the bishop. So here you really don't have anything. Bishop b5, you could just continue with a perpetual here. So not much happening here. So after rook to e1 check, we have king back to f8. Harvitz decides to
Do you play chess?
and now king to c2. Now Morphy
I
starts
like to play chess sometimes.
with knight to c7, and now king to b3. We have knight to e6, and now king to a4. And now if Morphy can get king a5,
now I have a challenge to do a split, middle split.
Attacks the b7 pawn, attacks the a6.
Then
Everything in that game over. So of course the b6 has to be played, creating a wall here. So Morphy's king.
I'm learning Russia also. Well, why I don't learn Russia?
a4. Now he wants to start expanding those pawns on the queen side, and h5. Morphy poses the position here. We have h4 and the king to e7 now. We have rook to e3, helping out with the defense along the
I
third
could
rank.
practice my Russian.
To d7 now. With bishop to d5, and now if the king of course moves, then you just pick up the knight and the pawn. That's how it works. So rook to e8, and now king back to b3.
Okay.
Preparing a4 and further expansion on the queen side. You do have 3 against 2.
3 against 2. Now, the most important part in production. I cleaned the pebbles, which is not what I normally do. But the problem is, I don't know why.
You come to Uber, you're going to work your ass off. And if you're not performing,
But there was dust on the pebbles.
because the most
So I
important
think
skill in
that
life is
influenced.
and when you see the top athletes, Ronaldo, Michael Jordan, of course they're talented. But the thing that's different about them is they work their asses off. And that's a learned skill. That's not something you're born with. You may be smarter, more talented, etc. But I'm not going to let anyone outwork me.
With that mentality, when you joined Uber, it was losing 3 billion per year. Now it generates 8.5 billion in free cash flow every year. But it seems that you were forged in such a way that you were going to be relentless.
Yeah, and it really started with being born in Iran. With the Islamic Revolution in 1978, we were not safe there. And I remember at one point we had these revolutionary guards come into the backyard, and bullets went through our living room. So my family came to the US to rebuild their lives.
You were, what, 8, 9 years old?
Yeah, and it really destroyed me. It's tough for me to talk about it. All right, let me try again. Seeing that has put me on a road where I just wanted to make my family proud. So I studied electrical engineering, and then my first job was in investment banking, and I got to see the process of big companies. And then I developed into the university. And told me as a CEO, senior sales analyst, and I left it all behind to go to Uber.
And I want to get into practical how we get that company to work and bring a culture of continuous improvement. But there's an alien that's arrived amongst us, which is AI. Now, driving, I think, is one of the biggest employers in the world, and as a profession.
I mean, we've got 9.5 million drivers and couriers on our platform.
Those drivers' careers that you have will be out of work. Being honest about the situation, what do the 9 million people do?
You come to Uber, you're going to work your ass off. And if you're not performing, we're going to let you know.
But do you ever worry that they won't be able to deal with the trick?
And they can leave. Because the most important skill in life is the skill of working hard. And when you
The most important skill in life is the skill of working hard. Nice. The most important skill in life is working hard.
You come to Uber, you're going to work your ass off. And if you're not performing, we're going to let you know.
But do you ever worry that they might not be able to deal with the truth?
And they can leave. Because the most important skill in life is the skill of working hard. And when you see the top athletes, Ronaldo, Michael Jordan, of course they're talented. But the thing that's different about them is they work their asses off. And that's a learned skill. That's not something you're born with. You may be smarter, more talented, etc. I'm not going to let anyone outwork me.
With that mentality, when you joined Uber, it was losing $3 billion per year. Now it generates $8.5 billion in free cash flow every year. But it seems that you were forged in such a way that you were going to be relentless.
Yeah, it really started with being born in Iran. With the Islamic Revolution in 1978, we were not safe there. And I remember at one point we had these revolutionary guards come into the backyard, and bullets went through our living room. So my family came to the U.S. to rebuild their lives.
You were, what, 8, 9 years old?
Yeah, and it really destroyed my dad. Sorry. Stop talking to me. Talk about it. Alright, try again. Seeing that has put me on a road where I just wanted to make my family proud. So I studied bioelectrical engineering, and then my first job was in investment banking. I got to see the process of big companies being built, and then I had the opportunity to take over Expedia.
And in your 12 years as CEO, Expedia sales increased from 2.1 million to 8.8 billion. And you were the highest paid CEO of the US tech company.
And I stood all behind to go to Uber.
And I want to get into practical company building, how you would get a company to work hard, and create a culture of continuous improvement, all that stuff. But there's an alien that's arrived amongst us, which is AI. Now, driving, I think, is one of the biggest appeals in the world, and it's a profession.
We've got 9.5 million drivers and couriers on the platform.
Those drivers' careers that you have will be able to work. Be honest about this position. What do the 9 million people do? Guys, I've got a quick favor to ask you. We're approaching a significant subscriber milestone on this show, and roughly 69% of you that listen love the show haven't yet subscribed for whatever reason. If there was ever a time to do us a favor, if we've ever done anything
They
for
fuck
you, given
you.
you value in any way, it is
No.
simply hitting that subscribe
No,
button.
I will
And
not
it
hit
means
that subscribe
A
button.
pretty big industrial
Fuck
company
you.
that everyone was quite proud of in Iran. We lost all of that with the revolution in 1978, and my family had to come to
I
the
really
US
hate
to
when
rebuild
every
their lives.
video
you
he's
have to come to the US.
saying for
We
these
were
fucking
not safe
subscribers.
there. One of my uncles actually was
Ask
a
once.
cabinet member of the Shahs, who had just
Enough.
been toppled. And at one point, we had these revolutionary guards come into the backyard. They were actually going after our neighbor's house, and one of their guns went off, and bullets went through our living room, shattered the glass in the living room. And at that point, my mom's like, "We're not safe being here," so we had to come to the U.S. And I do think that that to some extent has shaped not just me but my family, in that the rebuilding of our lives, of our economic lives to some extent, we're all trying to rebuild what we lost in Iran.
You look back on that, and can you identify any sort of fingerprints that were left on you from that time that have defined you in a business capacity?
I think at my core, I never feel safe. You know, when the experience of losing everything, and for the kids, I tell you, it was fine for the kids. But seeing my parents lose everything, and it really destroyed my dad. You know, it really, his losing his value to the world as he saw it, really hurt his inner being.
You see,
And I do think to some extent seeing that,
depends how you see them into the world.
I want to rebuild, I want to make my family proud, but at the same time, I never, that feeling of having the floor, you know, the rug pulled out of you, of building everything, that's a feeling that never leaves you. I think Americans underestimate what this place represents and its ideals, right? Which is, if you build something, it's yours, there's a rule of law, it can't be taken away from you. That is not true for the majority of the population of the world. And so I think for me, there's a drive to build, and it's at the same time never, ever, ever taking anything for granted, never being satisfied, because the minute you take things for granted, then that rug can be pulled out from under you.
On your father, there was a moment where a couple of years, I think 6 years, where he got trapped in Iran and wasn't granted an exit visa.
Yes.
And I imagine at that time, your mother was raising you alone here in New York City.
Yeah, in Tarrytown, New York, 45 minutes north of New York City. But she went from a life of never having to work to she had to become a salesperson to make some money, and she did it all herself, and she really stepped up. So I think it shaped us. It was difficult in some ways. I miss my dad. I remember when he left, he was like a giant compared to me, and then when he came back, it was my sophomore year at college, and he still saw me as a kid, and so he wanted to drive me to college, and he did. And then he's like, he wanted to hang out. I'm like, Dad, can you get out of here? I want to hang out with my kids. With my friends. I was excited to go back to school, and it was just, it was sad seeing the change, of a man who had gone older. His time in Iran was really tough on him. He had a heart attack on the plane coming back, so he was a diminished person to some extent. But it was great that I had many, many years with him, since then.
When he was away, when he was trapped to Iran and wasn't able to exit, your mother Lily
Yes.
referenced how you didn't mention him much, but when he returned, you broke down in tears.
Yeah, no, don't be. He was a very stoic man. Sorry. He passed away a couple of years ago, so it's tough for me to talk about. All right, let me try again. He was a very stoic man.
He's crying and nobody's stopping the interview. I think he's just thinking how to make this more popular.
We wrote letters together.
Let's include emotions. Make people cry on your podcast.
There's expression of feelings and kind of.
Why they didn't cut this out?
Were not something that my family did. You just dealt with the situation, and so.
It looks like emotional manipulation to me. What now? If somebody's crying, he's right or what?
It's a familiar story of the men that I've interviewed that grew up with that kind of sort of emotional composure enforced and modeled to them.
Yeah, I don't know if it was enforced. Like it wasn't actually. Yeah, like we were a very loving family, but my father was very humble. He did not believe that just because you're in a position of power, you should kind of reject that power. You should give that to everyone. And there was a stoicism inside my family, which is don't complain. So it was a weird combination of stoicism and love at the same time.
How does because I'm not a father yet.
Yes.
But I'm approaching that.
Congratulations. Almost.
Yeah, almost. Yeah, I've just proposed to my fiance, and we're in the process now of bringing children into the world, hopefully. And it's one of the things I think a lot about, which is how do I stop my own stoicism passing on to my children?
First of all, fatherhood, parenthood is so humbling. You have such a picture in your mind as to how you're going to raise your family, what your kids are going to be like, and they just become their own people. And it's such a beautiful process to see. And at first there's this alarm. Oh my God, I'm losing control. I've done everything. You've planned everything. This is how I'm going to raise kids. But then real life gets in the way. It is absolutely exhausting. So you probably execute on 80% of your plan, and you're 20% imperfect because you are exhausted and you're working. You got a career, or often some people do. And at some point you see these kids kind of move off into this completely unexpected territory. And there's a point for me, it was like, I'm a bit of a control freak, so I'm like, this is not good. They're kind of doing their own thing. But then you step back and you're like, it's absolutely gorgeous what's happening. So the advice that I would just give in terms of being a parent is just spend the time with the kids. You know, the magic is not what you do, or the particular tactics, but it's the investment in them and the time spent with them, and the rest, you know, you can't control. But what you can control is kind of that connection.
I am speaking of children. I went back and looked through lots of different photos of where you lived and where you grew up to try and get a picture of your world in an early context. And all these photos look incredibly incredible. I think that's your 5th birthday.
Oh wow! I had hair back then.
You had a lot of hair.
My mom loved to dress us up in like little doll outfits.
I can tell.
Yeah.
Oh,
Lord, look at that. I'm definitely not going to do that to my kids.
Age 4 in London.
Yes.
Photo of you.
Yes.
You and your cousins.
Yes.
Another photo.
Family was everywhere for us.
And then another one with a beautiful haircut.
It was a great childhood. It was amazing.
I spoke to your mum, Lily.
I hope, well, how'd it go? We'll see.
She said, I'll play the audio file just so people can hear it.
When he was very little, he told me that he wants to do something important in the world, and he said becoming wealthy is not his priority, but making a change is.
I can't say I remember that conversation, but one of my early experiences that really imprinted on me was we went to visit one of my dad's factories, family factories. My dad was in charge of designing factories, building them, operating them. And the respect that population, the factory had for him, and the visit and how excited they were that his family was visiting was just really cool. And the way that he knew everyone's name. He treated them with such respect. It really imprinted on me. There was this care. It wasn't the boss is coming and there's fear. And so for me, like that ability to build a life where you have impact on a lot of people, but it's positive kind of building impact. You have the broad respect of these folks. It really imprinted on me. So I always wanted, you know, when we came to the States, making money was important. I don't want to kind of BS and say like, oh, I didn't care about it, because we lost everything. And so my first job was like investment banking. What's the goal of investment banking? Have fun, but make money, right? And so that was a priority for me. But then as I matured in life, as I knew I had safety in terms of, okay, yes, I know I can do that. I can make money. I can provide for my family. I can support my mom and dad. Then building kind of an enterprise, having that feeling that I saw with my father, that connection with his team, was something that became really important to me.
When you came to New York, you were what, 8, 9 years old?
9 years old, yes.
If I'd asked you at 9 years old when you arrived in New York what you wanted to do when you were older, what would you have said?
I have no idea. I want to make my dad proud. That was it. I wasn't motivated for
You are making flip-flops with pebbles?
I just wanted to make my family proud.
Because today footwear is not made for the body.
He's always been an important figure.
And now nobody's thinking everybody's just thinking comfort. But comfort is not good.
I never got to know him that well as an individual, you know, because he was obviously, when I was younger, he was working all the time. So he would show up once in a while for dinner, etc. We always had family dinners together. And then he went away. And then I worked, so I never really got to know the person that he was. But I don't know, there's kind of this sense of duty. There's a hope that, you know, he's somewhere, or maybe he's not someplace. But that making my father proud has always been a strong undercurrent in my life.
So you were 9 years old, you arrived in New York City. You do end up going off to college sometime later.
Yes, I went to Brown University, studied engineering there.
How do you think about that choice at that time and how determined that was for your trajectory of your life? That decision to go to that university and study that subject?
My father always said you can do anything in your life as long as either you're a doctor or an engineer. And it's an organism and it's a machine at the same time. And to some extent, the job of the CEO is engineering how do I set up the company to achieve the goals that I set for shareholders, set for my board, sets for. It's a giant engineering problem, and to me, that's like fascinating. The putting together the pieces to get to what you perceive to be the goal. And one of the really important things is you got to pick the right goals. That is one giant problem-solving engineering challenge, and it's one of the most fascinating parts of my job.
I want to get into that.
Just fascinating.
Company building, how you organize an organization to be a well-functioning machine, setting goals and all that stuff. After college, you go into investment banking for a period of time.
Yeah, I worked there for 8 years in risk arbitrage to begin with, and then mergers and acquisition advisory work as well.
And that experience, I was reading, it taught you about betting on people.
Yes.
Versus something. What do you mean by betting on people, and why is that important?
It was actually a lesson that I learned from Herbert Allen, who was running Allen and Company at the time. It was the Allen's family started the company, and he always told me, and at the time I didn't really listen to him. He always said, Dara, always bet on people. Companies go. There are good companies, bad companies, but great people stay great all the time. And one of the things that made Allen and Company was really special, investment banking can be a dog-eat-dog sport, but Allen and Company really cultivated relationships with people whom they perceived to be great, both in terms of potential and in terms of character. And of all the investment banks, that loyalty, that making a bet on a person and then staying with them through their whole careers is a pattern of how that place works. And it's definitely something that I learned there.
What is it about one's character that makes them qualify as a great person?
You look for success, honor, loyalty, people who will tell you what they're going to do, whether it's good or bad, and then follow through on their promises.
Hard work, I'm surprised that wasn't mentioned.
Well, that comes with success.
Okay.
Right? Talent and hard work, you put those two together.
And why did you leave Allen and Company?
I left Allen because I met Barry Diller. He was a client of mine. We got to meet in a big kind of deal, unfriendly, hostile tender offer for Paramount at the time. There's another one happening, I guess, for Paramount now as we speak. And he was the one person, I thought I was going to be an Allen lifer. I thought I was going to be there forever. My older brother, Kaveh, is an Allen lifer. It's the only job he's had in his life. But Barry was the one person who I thought, if I get a chance to work for this person, I'm going to jump at it, and I did.
Why? Why Barry?
He's spectacular. I mean, he was spectacular. He is spectacular. A doer. I met him in a circumstance where he lost. It was this giant hostile tender offer, bids going back and forth between the winner, Viacom, and Barry. Ultimately, Barry stepped away, and we were planning an announcement. And you can imagine all these like fancy PR people sitting around a table. How do we present a loss as a win, right?
So he bid for a company, he didn't get it.
He didn't get it, and he walked away. He didn't get it because he walked away, which in hindsight was a mistake. He could have paid more.
Oh, hello, we are making flip-flops with pebbles, just putting straps inside. This is new model actually. It's made for kids or for women. So the idea is that it's smaller size and the strap is more narrow.
In business, losing is part of the game.
Absolutely. But they're calling it out. Not bullshitting. Not like, we tried our best and the circumstances. They won, we lost, next. It's okay.
Does it matter how you lose?
Absolutely it does. Absolutely it does. And I find companies guilty of two things. Like one is ignoring losses, like papering over losses, etc. Right? And then sometimes
you can
being
see
obsessive
that
about the loss.
this strap is narrow, so it's better for
Let's do
women.
a summary. Let's meet what went wrong, etc. And
I don't know if I put this on website already.
Recognize why you lost. Recognize that you lost. Say it because it's important to say it. Analyze it, but then move on. Like let's move on.
more
And the next
stylish,
time,
classy.
you hope to have learned some kind of judgment to avoid that kind of a loss, but it doesn't mean you're going to avoid losing at all. Like if you're not taking shots, you're not missing, you're not losing. So for me, it's constantly moving and taking your shots, losing, learning, next, losing, learning, next. That constant motion is what I want to see. That constant motion of learning is what excites me.
This is business advice, but also life advice generally, because a lot of people who I meet come up to me and ask me questions about things, often ask questions that sound a lot like what you just said. It's dealing with rejection, dealing with taking an L, and how that L then stays with them, sometimes for a decade, sometimes for 15 years, and holds them back, hurts their confidence, means that they don't take any more shots, and this can cause a sort of downward confidence spiral.
And listen, I'm talking a big game, but I'll tell you, in my personal life, I can't deal with rejection. I have a really hard time dealing with rejection. Professional life, no problem whatsoever. So it's like, in the end, we're all humans after all.
You have a difficulty dealing with rejection in your personal
Very
life.
much.
What kind of rejection?
Any kind of rejection, conflict, like it's something that has been, that I fought my whole life, which is because I was one of the younger cousins, because I was the youngest brother, I just kind of didn't have rights. So I went.
Okay, so recently I saw this video of this guy's 30-day stretching transformation. He basically went from an average split position and with the help of stretching for 30 days managed to achieve a full split. My flexibility has never been anything special and I only really started stretching regularly about 4 to 5 years ago when I started taking my martial arts really seriously. I managed to a decent level of flexibility but I could still never do the full splits. I've always wanted to be able to do the splits, so I thought I'd take this opportunity to see if I could achieve it and make a video of it. So basically, in this video, the guy said that he sat in the split position every day for 10 minutes total. He did 1 minute of stretching followed by 1 minute of rest and repeated this 10 times. But because I need my legs to be functioning to actually be able to train, I decided to cut this in half and do 5 minutes of this stretching every night after my training. Let's see if this really works. So here I am, just warming up to get into the split position, and this is what my full split attempt looks like on day 1. It's not awful, but nowhere near where I'd like it to be. And as you can see here, I'm clearly not happy with the depth of my stretch. So days 1 to 5 were fairly uneventful, and I didn't really notice much of a change on these days. The only thing that really happened was I realised how much I hate stretching, but I kept going on with it anyway. At this point, I just want to say, if you are going to attempt to do anything like this, any intense stretching, then I wouldn't recommend warming up beforehand, getting your muscles prepared for the stretching session. I know it sounds weird, like warming up to stretch, but it is important because you could quite easily pull something if you push yourself too hard in a stretch without properly preparing your muscles for it. So maybe try doing some static stretches beforehand, just to loosen up your muscles a bit and get them ready for the intense stretching. On days 6 to 7, I did start to notice a bit of an improvement, but at the same time my legs were starting to ache from the constant stretching and were a bit sore throughout the day. So if you're going to try this, I'd advise maybe adding in 1 rest day per week just to allow your hips to rest, because otherwise it will just become painful. Days 9 to 11, I was actually on holiday, but I still stuck to my stretching routine because obviously the grind never stops. It's day 12 and we're back in the dojo, still going strong, still feeling the pain of the stretching, but you know, we're getting through it. So it's day 15. We're halfway through the challenge and I did start to notice that I'd stopped improving, like my splits weren't really getting that much deeper. Almost like I'd hit a bit of a brick wall. But apparently this is normal, and there is a certain point that your hips reach that it makes it very difficult to push past. But yeah, at this point the DOMS was affecting me quite a lot, and basically what DOMS is delayed onset muscle soreness, and this is where your muscles start to ache after you've done a workout or stretching and not just during. So this was affecting me in my day-to-day life. You know, I was quite achy throughout the day, but it was nothing serious, but it was affecting the stretching a little bit.
Can you
But I
do
decided to
split?
push through this and carry on with the stretching routine anyway. A few days went past and it was now day 20, and I had a few days off because I was away competing, but I still stretched where I could. I felt good to have a few days off though, as my groin area was really starting to ache and make stretching unpleasant, but now we're back in the game. Day 22, and I'm not going to lie, at this point I was really starting to hate this challenge because it felt like I wasn't really making much improvement anymore, and I was considering whether it was even worth continuing. But there's only 8 days left, so I decided to stick it out anyway. Day 28 now, and we're coming towards the end of the challenge. I was quite excited at this point because it meant that soon I wouldn't need to do this every day. Because it was just starting to become a bit of a chore, having to come and do this stretching thing every day. So we finally reached the end of the challenge, day 30, and here are the results. So, 30 days of practicing splits, and this is the difference between the first day and the last day. Clearly, I did not make it to a full split, but there are some definite improvements in my splits position. I think maybe the reason I didn't get all the way was because I did 5 sets every day instead of 10. Maybe that would have been the deciding factor on whether I succeeded, or maybe it wouldn't. Will I be continuing this routine? Absolutely not. For me personally, because I was already at an okay standard of flexibility, the pain of intense stretching every day wouldn't really be worth continuing. Would I recommend trying it though? If you're looking for a fairly quick way to improve your side split flexibility, then yes, go ahead and try it. But just remember that stretching should be uncomfortable, but it should never be excruciatingly painful. So listen to your body if it's telling you that you're pushing too far. I hope you enjoyed this short video, and I hope you can take something from it. Also, my respect goes out to Henry Vo, who gave me the inspiration for this video, and he actually did manage to achieve a full split after completing this challenge. I know how difficult it is now after having completed it myself, and I didn't even succeed in getting the full splits either. So yeah, my respect goes out to him for actually seeing it through and going through with it properly. Go check out his video, go check out his account. But yeah, respect to him. I am taking suggestions for any more 30-day challenges that you'd like me to try, whether it be push-ups or 30-day sit-up challenge or squats or anything like that. It doesn't have to be fitness related either. It could be another flexibility one. Anything you'd like to see me do, just drop it in the comments and I'll be reading those, and I'll also pick out maybe the top comment or top few comments, and I will let you decide which one of those that I do. So yeah, make sure you drop this video a comment with which challenge you'd like me to try next. So I would just like to say, please like this video if you're enjoying the content that I'm putting out, or if you enjoy this video, please give this video a like, and also please subscribe if you haven't. If you're watching this video and that subscribe button is red, then please go ahead and click it, make it great. Thank you very much. Also, because we're at 100,000 subscribers now, so it would be nice to keep pushing forward and maybe get to the million at some point. Maybe even this year. I don't know, maybe not, but yeah, please hit that subscribe button. And just to finish off,
Question 4. I speak English.
Я говорю по-английски.
Я говорю по-английски. Вопрос 2. Она смотрит или читает?
Смотрит.
Она смотрит на скульптуру.
Гледа на скульптуру.
Вопрос 3. In which word do you read E as an U? Right. Цифра. Цифра. Магазин.
Цифра.
Цифра means figure. Цифра. Магазин. Магазин. Shop. Вопрос 4. In which word do we read E as an U? Мишка. Шишка.
Шишка.
Right. Шишка. We say Mishka, teddy bear, and Shishka, a pine cone.
Шишка, мишка, бишка.
Вопрос 5. Много
Вопрос.
или мало? Do you think there are a lot of coins here or just a few?
Много.
Много. Тут много монет. There are a lot of coins here.
Бишка.
Вопрос 6. Он реагирует быстро или медленно?
Медленно.
Does he react fast or slowly?
Медленно.
Медленно. Немедленно. Да, быстро. Вопрос 9. Write the correct ending. Они по-русски. Они,
Они говорят.
да, они говорят по-русски.
Закай pa говорят? Закай pa не говорит?
Вопрос 10. Я не... Где ключи? Я не помню... Как?
Позаб.
Я не помню. Я
Помню.
не помню, где ключи. I don't remember where the keys are. Молодец. Great job. You finished lesson number 7.
Помни.
I will see you in the next lesson. Bye-bye. So my students are very shy. That's why I had to act out for one of the students, whose name is Mario, and he's Italian. You know that I live in Italy, and I know what Italy is like, what Italians are like, and believe me, not all Italians eat pasta every day for lunch. Some of them eat it also for dinner. Привет, Марио.
Привет, Юля.
Ты меня слышишь?
Да, я тебя слушаю.
Марио,
Слушаю.
Я слышу.
Я тебя слушаю.
Нет, Марио.
Я тебя слушаю.
Нет, Марио. Я слышу.
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 Я слышу тебя хорошо.
Я
Марио,
слышу
а
тебя.
ты меня видишь?
Да, я тебя видел.
Марио, я
Я тебя видел.
Так, по-русски я
Видел.
Думай. Марио, я вижу.
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 О май гад.
Почему?
So, as you see, verb conjugation holds a lot of mysteries and sometimes drives students crazy. Moreover, it takes time to learn to use them automatically without thinking, just as you do with the verbs in your mother tongue. That's why today we're going to practice. We will start with the verbs that have the most common endings of the second conjugation. And the verbs are смотреть, to watch, помнить, to remember, and верить, to believe, to trust. After this group, we will see two verbs that can be easily confused, and they are стоять, to be on foot, and стоить, to cost. When you conjugate them, it
Сколько
gets
стоит?
even worse. Я стою, I stand. Я стою, I cost. Don't mix them up. The third group of verbs that we will see today is the group where the endings are a bit different. We will have the ending u in the first person singular and at in the third person plural. The verbs are слышать, to hear, лежать, to lie, молчать, to be quiet, to be silent. And group number 4 is the group where some magic is going on. Ой! Извините. Давай, иди отсюда, иди быстрее. In this last group, I included the verbs видеть, to see, ненавидеть, to hate, сидеть, to sit. I remind you that the endings of the second conjugation are you, у, иш, ит, им, ите, яд, ат. If you don't remember them very well, please write them down. I will give you an exercise, and you will need this ending to do the exercise easily. Ты готов? Поехали! Are you ready? Let's go. Помнить. Я не помню адрес отеля. I don't remember the address of the hotel. Я помню. Ты помнишь. Он помнит. Мы помним. Вы помните. Они помнят. And now you give it a try. А теперь ты. Я помню.
Fuck.
Я помню. Да, правильно. Ты
Помнишь.
Он,
Помнить.
мы, вы, они. Следующий глагол. Next verb. Смотреть. To watch. По субботам мы всегда смотрим фильм. On Saturdays, we always watch a film. Смотреть. Я смотрю. Ты смотришь. Он смотрит. Мы смотрим. Вы смотрите.
Смотрите.
Они смотрят.
Смотрит.
А теперь ты. Я.
Russian language is easy, but not
Я
easy.
смотрю. Да, я смотрю.
Okay, that's it for today. Ты смотрит.
Он.
Смотришь. Он смотрит.
Мы.
Не смотрит. Но, смотрим.
Вы.
Смотрите.
Они. Ты просто молодец.